Right now, two completely different stories are happening in crypto at the same time, and almost nobody is connecting them. On one side, a community of millions is watching their wallets, waiting for a network most of you have heard of, but few of you fully understand. On the other side, two of the biggest billionaires in this entire industry just stood up and said the same thing out loud. They think Bitcoin is bottom. By the end of this video, you're going to understand both analysis, and you're going to have a clearer picture of where crypto actually stands right now in June 2026. Welcome back to Crypto Educate channel. I'm genuinely glad you're here. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button right now, because I break down what's actually happening in crypto. No hype, no fluff, just the facts and my honest take on them. And if you're already part of this community, you already know the deal. Drop a like before we even get started. It costs you nothing, and it tells me you want more of this. And guys, I'm going to ask you directly the way I always do. Please keep sharing my videos. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it helps more people get educated instead of guessing their way through this market. I want your support on this one. Now let's get into it. Let's start with Pi Network because there's a lot moving here. According to Satoshi Nakamoto, who posted a detailed infographic breaking down where the Pi ecosystem currently stands, Pi Network is positioning itself as a complete digital ecosystem, not just a mining app. The infographic lists out mobile mining, KYC, the wallet, the blockchain itself, an AI app studio, domains, and a launchpad, all working together to support both everyday users and developers building on top of the network. As of mid-2026, Pi Network is running on an open mainnet, following a series of phased launches across 2025 and into this year, and the PI token itself is trading around 13 cents. Here's my take. That's a lot of infrastructure for a project that, for years, people dismissed as just a mobile mining app. Building a wallet is one thing. Building an AI app studio and a launchpad on top of your own. Blockchain is a different level of ambition entirely. Now, according to the same post, community reactions are mixed. Long-term users are genuinely excited, but there are real, persistent concerns floating around. Two things like token liquidity, insider selling, and whether the project can actually deliver on everything it's promising. I want to ask you directly, drop it in the comments. Does this list of features feel like real utility being built? Or does it feel like a project, adding features faster than it can prove they work? Sticking with Pi for a second, BSCN reported something interesting this week. A new app inside the Pi ecosystem called GalaxyPi, built by a third party developer and launched through the official Pi Core team ecosystem, filled its entire first round of beta signups, 500 spots in just a few hours. GalaxyPi is a strategy and base building game, and shortly after launch, the team announced a 7-day campaign called the Genesis Carnival, giving early users a chance to claim in-game rewards over that week. Honestly, that kind of sign-up speed tells you something. There is real demand inside this community for things to actually do with their Pi, not just things to hold and wait on. Now here's a post that I think deserves a slower read. PiTown shared an observation that I actually found pretty sharp. Their point was this: most people look at KYC, approvals and migration to Mainnet, and assume the Pi Core team is simply moving as fast as it can to process everyone. But PiTown raised a different possibility, that the team might actually be pacing the flow of users and liquidity into the ecosystem on purpose, while the underlying foundation is still being built out behind the scenes. And while people wait, things are quietly improving. The wallet keeps getting small updates. The launchpad is being tested under real conditions. New services keep showing up inside the Pi browser. The blockchain infrastructure keeps evolving. More apps and more businesses keep joining. PiTown's actual question, and I think it's a good one, is this: what if the people receiving their Pi months from now are stepping into a completely different ecosystem than the one that existed a year before them? My honest opinion here, this is speculation. PiTown said as much themselves, but it's reasonable speculation. Slow, deliberate rollouts are not unusual for networks, trying to avoid the kind of liquidity shock that tanks a token overnight. Whether that's actually the strategy here, none of us can confirm. But ask yourself this: would you rather a project rush everyone onto mainnet at once, or build the ecosystem out first, so there's somewhere for that value to actually go? Now, let's talk about the number one that gets argued about more than almost anything else. In the Pi community, the global consensus value, often shown as $314,159 per Pi. According to Diazic3, a Pi network advocate who posted about this on June 19th. This number shouldn't be viewed as a speculative market price at all. Instead, Diazag3 frames it as a core value, a stable, community-driven reference point meant to encourage real economic activity inside the ecosystem, things like work, services, commerce, investment, and app usage, rather than people just sitting on their pie waiting for an exchange listing to make them rich. The thread also referenced a $10,000 daily limit, apparently intended to keep usage stable rather than wildly speculative. I'm going to be straight with you here. This is one of the most debated topics in the entire Pi community, and for good reason. A community-agreed value is not the same thing as a market price, discovered through actual buying and selling on an open exchange. That distinction matters. If you're new to crypto, please understand the difference between a number a community has agreed to use internally and a number the broader market is actually willing to pay. I'm not telling you what to believe here. I'm telling you to understand what you're looking at before you act on it. All right, let's shift over to Bitcoin, because this next part matters for basically everyone watching. Regardless of which coins you hold, Crypto Patel pointed out some genuinely strong on-chain data this month. According to the post, roughly 125,000 Bitcoin moved into long-term holder wallets in June 2026, meaning coins held for over 155 days. And this is reportedly the largest monthly accumulation of this entire cycle. What that means in plain English, coins are leaving short-term, easily sold hands and moving into wallets that historically don't sell quickly. That reduces the liquid supply available to dump on exchanges. A chart from the RAND Group, also referenced in that post, shows the percentage of Bitcoin supply currently sitting at a loss across past cycles. And right now that number is elevated, which is actually typical heading into a correction phase. Before a recovery, not after one. Here's my opinion, and I want to be clear that this is my take, not financial advice. Historically, when long-term holders accumulate at this kind of pace, it has preceded tightening supply and stronger rallies further down the line, especially post-halving. With Bitcoin trading around $63,000 right now, that's a constructive signal for those of us thinking longer term into the back half of 2026. But, and this is important, on-chain data like this is a lagging indicator. It tells you what already happened, not what's about to happen. Macro events, interest rate decisions, geopolitical shocks, any of those can move price in the short term, regardless of what long-term holders are doing. So don't treat this as a green light. Treat it as one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And speaking of that puzzle, let's talk about why two of the biggest names in this industry are publicly calling a bottom. Bitcoin had a brutal run through most of 2026, after peaking around $126,000 back in October 2025, fueled by spot ETF, inflows, institutional adoption, and a friendlier regulatory environment. The market pulled back hard all the way down to around $63,000. Stretched valuations, rising geopolitical tension, and a market hypersensitive to interest rate expectations all played a part in that drop. Bernstein analyst Gautam Chougani made a point worth repeating here, that Bitcoin's long-term store of value thesis isn't really damaged by short-term flow pressure, and that Bitcoin might still offer diversification away from the unusually concentrated, AI-driven momentum that's been dominating markets this year, as tensions around the Iran conflict have eased. And ETF flow optimism has picked back up. Buyers have started cautiously stepping back in. Yahoo Finance sat down separately with two major figures for the power players. Podcast Coinbase co-founder and CEO Brian Armstrong and Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, known to most of you as CZ. According to that interview, Armstrong's view, in his own words, is that nobody can know these things for certain, but based on historical patterns and sentiment indicators, he personally believes Bitcoin already found its bottom, somewhere around the $60,000 mark. He pointed to a few potential catalysts for renewed growth: clearer market structure regulation, legislation actually passing, and a wave of AI companies going public, which he believes have been absorbing a lot of the risk capital that might otherwise be flowing into crypto. Once those lockups unwind, he expects some of that capital to rotate back. CZ's perspective, paraphrasing his comments, was that crypto, winters come and go. That's just the nature of the cycle. But the industry itself keeps growing underneath the surface. He pointed out that $60,000 might feel painful now, but 4 years ago, the bottom was $16,000, so context matters. His core point was that more real-world applications, and use cases are what actually drive the next leg up. And he believes that growth is already underway. Now, I have to say this clearly because I take this seriously, and you should too. Nothing in this video constitutes financial advice or a recommendation of any kind. Please seek out a qualified, regulated financial professional before making any investment decisions. I'm here to break down what's happening and give you my honest read on it, not to tell you what to do with your money. So here's where I land on all of this. Pi Network is clearly trying to build something bigger than a mining app. The infrastructure is real, but the skepticism around things like liquidity and the GCV number is also real, and you should hold both of those truths at the same time. Bitcoin, meanwhile, has two of the most influential people in this entire industry, publicly saying the worst might be behind us, backed up by on-chain data that historically has lined up with recoveries. I'd love to know where you stand. Are you more interested in what's happening with Pi right now? Or are you watching Bitcoin's next move more closely? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Before you go, please like this video if you got value out of it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And seriously, keep sharing my videos with anyone you know who's trying to actually understand crypto instead of just guessing. Your support is the only reason this channel keeps growing. And I genuinely appreciate every one of you for sticking around until the end. Go check out my other videos on the channel. I've got more breakdowns, just like this one waiting for you. This has been Crypto Educate. I'll see you in the next one.